Shut the fuck up! Fucker! Move! Damn it!
Hello, 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 fake fans. We hope you're having a fantastic day in your neck of the woods. And boy, oh boy, do we have some breaking news in regards to the world of PlayStation. The PlayStation fanboys are loving this. They love to consume. That's why they love Helldivers 2 and all of the mid software that releases on Sony Station 5. But we have new rumblings here today, folks, that the PlayStation 5, we have new rumblings today, folks, that the PlayStation 5, we have new rumblings today, folks, that the PlayStation 5 Pro could very well be releasing this year. That's right, folks at home. The PlayStation 5 Pro could very well be releasing later this year. Now, we're going to go ahead and break this down in a way that makes sense, but before we do, how is the audio? It's windy out here, and we need to know how the audio is before we continue in a way that makes sense. Let's go ahead and get a 1 in the chat. Let's go ahead and get a 1 in the chat. Let's go ahead and get a 1 in the chat. Let's go ahead. Yeah! Let's go ahead and get a 1 in the chat. Let's go ahead and get a 1 in the chat. Let's go ahead and get a 1 in the chat. We're going to be discussing the PlayStation 5 Pro here in a moment. We're going to go through the IGN article, and we're going to see what they have to say about the PlayStation 5 Pro potentially releasing later this year. Now, of course, this comes before GTA 6. Let's get the energy. Nothing but peace and love in here. Nothing but peace and love. Anyone that doesn't share peace and love, there's plenty of other places to go. So we're going to be talking about the PlayStation 5 Pro. We're going to be talking about the PlayStation 5 Pro. We're going to be talking about the PlayStation 5 Pro. We're going to be talking about the PlayStation 5 Pro. We're going to be talking about the PlayStation 5 Pro. Yeah! Back in the USSR. You don't know how lucky you are. Yeah. Back in the USS, back in the USS, back in the USSR. That's what we're talking about. There is a new Beatles movie coming. They are finally making the Beatles movie in 2027. That's what we're talking about. Anime weeb god coming through. That's what we're talking about. We are out here live, ladies and gentlemen. The show must go on, and we are live discussing the latest rumblings in regards to the world of video. There is a new Beatles biopic coming in 2027. Now, they're doing something very interesting with this movie. They are making, I think, 4 separate movies to focus on each of the Beatles members, and that is going to be very interesting to say the least. So 4 different movies from what I can understand, and that is coming in 2027. And the director did, what did the director do? The director did 1970. That's what we're talking about. We're coming through hard and strong. Miles Kino's in the building. That's what we're talking about. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go.
Super chatted $6 No disk drive, no buy for me, honestly.
Well, we don't know that. I mean, I haven't read the article yet, so we're going to discover that, and hopefully a way that makes sense here today. But it is windy, I'll tell you that. It is windy out here, folks at home, so let me know how the audio is, because it is windy. Miles Kino coming through. That's what we're... Miles Kino coming through. That's what we're talking about. Let's get you them fireworks, bud. Miles Kino coming through. The PlayStation 5 Pro slated to release later this year. I mean, the Beatles news is more exciting, but nonetheless, you guys probably don't even know who the Beatles are. But you will in 2027. You know, this new generation will understand who they were, and it's going to be a great film. Multiple films showcasing their own perspectives for John Lennon, George Harrison, Ringo Starr, and, of course, Paul McCartney. So 4 different films to showcase their individual perspectives. I think that's a very unique idea. And the director did 1917, which is a visual feast. It's a visual feast, 1917, and I think it's supposed to be one of those one-take shots throughout the whole movie or most of the movie. So at the very least, I mean, the movie's going to look fantastic visually. And we're just hoping that they can get the right actors to make it work in a way that makes sense. But we got the Beatles. We got the Beatles coming in 2027. That's what we're talking about. Clad in Shadows 99. Clad in Shadows 99. Clad in Shadows 99 coming through with the 5. Clad in Shadows 99. Let's get them lasers out for you, bud. Clad in Shadows 99 coming through, and we forgot to start the mobile stream, so you know what that means. We're starting the mobile broadcast. We're starting the mobile broadcast, folks.
It's over.
We're starting the mobile broadcast.
M0, 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 M0.
We're starting the mobile broadcast. Forgot to start the mobile broadcast.
Folks, have you even seen the stream and video content landscape? There ain't nothing to watch out there. Did you really think the world class was gonna shut it down? The show must go on, ladies and gentlemen.
That's what we're talking about. The world of video needs world class more than ever, as the other content creators just don't produce anything worthwhile of watching, nothing unique. They can't even get outside of their parents' basement. Could never be me. MO coming through, that's what we're talking about. Hell yeah, by the way, appreciate that. MO's coming through hard and strong with the 20. MO's coming through hard and strong with the 20. MO's coming through hard and strong with the 20. MO's coming through hard and strong with the 20. That's what we're talking about. Let's get them lasers out for you, bud. That's what we're talking about. We got the fireworks out here. We got the lasers out here. We're going to go ahead and start the mobile broadcast here. We're going to go ahead and start the mobile broadcast here. We're going to go ahead and start the mobile broadcast here. MO coming through, that's what we're talking about. MO coming through hard and strong. That's what we're talking about. Coming through really hard and really strong with the $20 super chat. That's what we're talking about. The PlayStation 5 Pro, brand new rumblings, and we're going to get into it momentarily. Let's go ahead and hit that like button, folks at home. Let's go ahead and hit that like button. 89 likes. We should be doing better than that. Let's go ahead and hit that like button, folks at home. Sean Stasiak coming through. Sarah Syrup coming through. Sarin Syrup coming through with the 10-5. That's what we're talking about, bud. Sarin Syrup coming through with the 10. Coming through in a way that makes sense to keep us afloat out here. Sarin Syrup in the building. Let's get you them lasers, bud. Sarin Syrup coming through with the 10. That's what we're talking about. The PlayStation 5 Pro is on the horizon potentially, as there is new rumbling. PlayStation 5 Pro is on the horizon. Jack Thompson in the building.
Jack super chatted $4.99.
Jack Thompson in the building.
We're getting a Brian Epstein biopic this year with the Beatles too.
What? Jack Thompson coming through. Jack Thompson coming through. Jack Thompson coming through. Jack Thompson coming through. Let's get you them. Let's get you the balloons. You want the balloons? What do you want? We got AR technology out here. There we go. Let's get you that confetti, bud. That's what we're talking about. Nothing but peace and love. We're going to start the mobile broadcast here. We're going to start the mobile broadcast here in hopefully a way that makes sense. We're going to start the mobile broadcast here. We're going to start the mobile broadcast here. We're going to start the mobile broadcast here before we get into it. We're going to start the mobile broadcast here before we get into it. We forgot to start the mobile broadcast. We're going to start the mobile broadcast here before we get into it. We're going to start the mobile broadcast before we get into it. And what should we call this? We're going to start the mobile broadcast. We're going to start the mobile broadcast here. 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 We're going to start the mobile broadcast. This takes a lot of time. Jesus. We're going to start the mobile broadcast here. We're going to start the mobile broadcast here. There we go. We've started the mobile broadcast. We've started the mobile broadcast. And as such, we're going to go ahead and dissect what this is all about here. The PlayStation 5, as you can see, is slated to potentially release later this year. This is straight from IGN, folks. And on PS5 Pro, likely out later in 2024, analysts say. Okay, can you see that up on the screen? You should be able to see that up on the screen. PlayStation 5 Pro likely out later. in 2024. Analysts say that's what we're talking about. Don Lee coming through.
Super chatted $10.
Don Lee coming through. That's what we're talking about. Don Lee is in the building. Let's get you them lasers, bud. Don Lee coming through with the 10. Hell yeah, by the way, appreciate that. Don Lee coming through with the 10. PS5 Pro likely out later in 2024, analysts say, ahead of GTA 6. Sony is likely to release a PlayStation 5 Pro later in 2024, analysts have told CSNBC. The souped-up refresh would be designed to boost interest in PS5 after Sony admitted it expected the console sales pace of the consoles to start falling from the next fiscal year, which begins April 2024. It would also launch ahead of the release of Grand Theft Auto 6 in 2025, which is expected to significantly boost console game sales. Sony has yet to comment. Sony has form when it comes to release. Sony has form when it comes to releasing a Sony has form when it comes to releasing a Pro version of its consoles. The PS4 Pro, for example, launched in November 2016, 3 years after the PS4 came out. If a PS5 Pro does launch later this year, it would come out 4 years after the PS5 launched in November 2020. Quote, there seems to be a broad consensus in the games industry that Sony is indeed preparing launch for the PS5 Pro in the second half of 2024. Tokyo-based consultant said, and Sony will want to make sure to have a great piece of hardware ready when GTA 6 hits in 2025, a launch that will be a shot in the arm in the entire gaming industry. Another analyst suggested that Sony will not cut the price of the current PS5 even when the PS5 Pro comes out due to the pressure of the company margin. Okay. 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 Now you have to ask yourself, are we really ready for a PlayStation 5 Pro? You have to ask yourself, are we really ready for a PlayStation 5 Pro? Now granted, like it said in the article, the PlayStation 4 Pro released 3 years after the PS4 came out. So it has actually been longer this time around if the PS5 Pro does release later this year. So Sony wants to get ready for GTA 6. They know this is the only game that actually is going to make the needle move within this industry that is basically all but dead outside of these niche fantasy games and these weirdo PC games where they just sit around and pretend like they play games, but they're on 4chan, they're on all these other social forums yapping their gums, but they're not playing these games. That's the problem. So Sony wants to get it out there so that the PlayStation 5 Pro can take full advantage of whatever Rockstar is going to do with GTA 6. So what do we think here? We know that the PlayStation 5 has a lackluster year here this year. Okay, there's no first-party titles coming until basically sometime next year. And again, that lines up with this. If they can get this out this holiday, the normies are going to rush to the store and pick up the PlayStation 5 Pro despite there being very little software to actually take advantage of the PlayStation 5 Pro. Now, what they could do to cater and pander to the internet darling crowd, what they could do to cater and pander to the internet darling crowd, what they could do to cater and pander to the internet darling crowd, what they could do to cater and pander to the internet darling crowd, what they could do to cater and pander to the internet darling crowd, what they could do to cater and pander to the internet darling crowd, what they could do to cater and pander to the internet darling crowd, what they could do to cater and pander to the internet darling crowd, what they could do to cater and pander to the internet darling crowd is, well, they could release Bloodborne on the PS5 Pro, and these normies would actually get out of their basement. These PC losers, these fake gamers would get up out of their basement to play garbage-ass shit like that, okay? They really would. I mean, that's the only game that's going to get the neckbeards out of the basement is Bloodborne, and if you bring it back for PlayStation 5 Pro, boom, enhanced for PlayStation 5 Pro, the normies, the neckbeards, the internet darling crowd is getting up out of the basement to go buy that bullshit at GameStop. That's what they're doing. They're buying the collector's edition, okay? So if Sony really wanted to cater and pander to the internet darling crowd, quite frankly, that's a road to success. Bring out Bloodborne, remastered for the PS5 Pro, true 4K 60, no checkerboard resolution, native 4K 60, no options. You just put the game in, Bloodborne, 4K 60, boom, ray tracing enabled, so on and so forth. The neckbeards would be just crawling up the stairs to go to GameStop to get that collector's edition with that massive statue. Could never be me, you know what I mean? But nonetheless, that's if Sony wanted to cater and pander to the internet darling crowd. And that's why PlayStation is dead. That's why PlayStation is dead, because they have basically lost the casual market, and now they're catering and pandering to the losers over at Reset Era and, just the internet darling crowd in general. Could never be me. You know what I mean? That's how you take Sony and the PlayStation brand, and it was so big in the early 2000s, really massive, pop culture phenomenon, and you take it to the internet darling crowd. No one wants to buy a PlayStation 5 Pro. Sony's out of their gourd if they think people are going to rush out and buy this PS5 Pro. Now, GTA 6, if they release GTA Trailer 2 before the PS5 Pro launches later this year, okay, if GTA 6 Trailer 2 comes out before the PS5 Pro potentially releases later this year, then that could be a move for a lot of people to say, well, I want to play GTA 6 and I want to experience the best possible version, because again, that's not coming to PC. So this is probably their strategy to answer to GTA 6 and say, well, this is the best place to play GTA 6, because Xbox Series X is going to be obsolete now if the PS5 Pro is what it supposedly is, right? So the PlayStation will have the best console out on the market. However, with that said, what Sarah Bond said, I believe that's her name, in the Xbox conference, is that she said that there was new hardware coming later this year as well. So what I'm thinking is that there's going to be an Xbox Series X refresh to some extent that maybe boosts a few things inside of the box to maybe combat the PlayStation 5 Pro here. Because if Xbox, Microsoft, if they know that they're going to do PS5 Pro, they can just ship out another console like an Xbox Series X refresh without a disk drive and maybe a better CPU or some shit like that. You know what I mean? I mean, that really could be a possibility. That really could be back in the USSR. You don't know how lucky you are, yeah. Back in the USS, back in the USS, back in the USSR. Come on! You guys are not listening. Final Fantasy 16 is total slop. People played it for about a week and then they moved on. Now they're wanting to play this Final Fantasy Rebirth garbage, which is basically a remake of a game that you've already played. Could never be me.
It's over.
M0 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 M super chatted $5. Question for Sony fans: has there been a single true next-gen PS5 exclusive game released that needs the PS5 to be played? Hard mode, no remakes.
No, there's only about 7, 8, 9, 10, maybe I don't know how many to be totally exact, 7, 8, 9, 10 actual PS5 exclusives that are not on PC that you can only get on PlayStation 5. So with that said, you have to ask yourself, is that really enough? And again, what is the PlayStation 5 Pro going to do? What is the PlayStation 5 Pro going to do? What is the PlayStation 5 Pro going to do? Because you have to ask yourself, if GTA 6 is the only reason to pick up the PlayStation 5 Pro, we're not sure if that's really enough. Because we don't know when GTA 6 is releasing. Now, again, that could change later this year. You know, they could put out Trailer 2, and Trailer 2 could have a lot more detail on when that game is actually coming. Fall 2025, spring 2025. That's the only reason right now to potentially pick up the PlayStation 5 Pro, okay? That's the only reason right now to pick up the PlayStation 5 Pro. MO coming through, that's what we're talking about, bud. Let's get you them lasers. Mo coming through hard and strong. We do appreciate that, bud. That's what we're talking about. If the chat is going to be off topic, it's all about peace and love in here, so we're going to get you up out of here so maybe you can go find a better stream to get toxic with. You're the problem, not me, okay? You come in here with your nasty toxicity straight from the sewer that you crawl out of daily, and nobody got time for that. Nobody got time for that. Peace and love, mate. Peace and love, mate. I already told you the winning strategy here for PlayStation later this year. You want to release PlayStation 5 Pro. You want to release PlayStation 5 Pro. You have to do it with Bloodborne. You have to get Bloodborne to the PlayStation 5 Pro. You have to get Bloodborne to the PlayStation 5 Pro. Yeah, that's what you got to do. You got to get Bloodborne to the PlayStation 5 Pro. Okay, you got to get Bloodborne to the PlayStation 5 Pro, and that's where you're going to get some sales. People will buy that to experience the best version, 4K 60, Bloodborne, remaster. The normies would love it. Well, not the normies, but the internet darling crowd, they would love Bloodborne on PlayStation 5 Pro. They couldn't get enough of that slop. The Nintendo Switch is still the most revolutionary console, and we've heard rumors that that's releasing as well, potentially in early 2025, the Nintendo Switch 2. The Nintendo Switch 2 could be releasing in early 2025. And you can't help but wonder, is that going to outweigh the hype of the PlayStation 5 Pro? I would argue yes. I think the Switch 2 is a lot bigger than the PlayStation 5 Pro. Absolutely. Absolutely. So this is going to be interesting to see. This is going to be interesting to see because we, of course, have GTA 6 Trailer 2 probably later this year as well. Maybe they market it with the PlayStation 5 Pro. We just don't know. And, of course, maybe the Switch 2 as well. So there's just a lot of things happening later this year. Of course, nothing now because the gaming industry is dead. I mean, if you want to go play Helldivers 2, by all means, go play Helldivers 2. Could never be me. She don't love and it's so sad. 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 No, they got Super Mario Odyssey too. There hasn't been a big Mario game like that since 2017. So Nintendo has Mario Odyssey 2, and that's going to be the big system seller for the Switch 2. That's going to be the big system seller for the Switch 2. Mario Odyssey 2. Mario Odyssey 2. Mario Odyssey 2. We don't want to hear fake gamer discourse in here, so if you're not excited for anything, then pick up a book and go read a story because that's where you're at in your life, you know. You've put the controller down, and there might not be a reason to pick it back up. And I feel you, believe me, I do. But I'll tell you this. We're hoping that changes. Because right now, it is a total snooze fest. I'll tell you that. It is a total snooze fest. She don't love it. It's so sad. PS4 Pro made sense. How many games were released PS4 to the PS4 core before? Exactly, yeah. Well, I'm sure it was more than what we have now, but... Well, the games were just a little bit more interesting in the PS4 era compared to what they even are now. And the PS4 era, I mean, I remember making a video. I'm not sure if it's still on the channel, but I remember making a video saying, well, wait a minute. The PS4 has no games. About a year or so after it came out, the PS4 has no games. I mean, it was basically, these past two generations have been abysmal, I'll tell you that. Anyone saying otherwise is just a blind consumer. You know, they love to sit there and consume and say, oh, my God, we're going to buy everything that comes out. And it's like, well, I guess that's what you have to do with this hobby. You have to just buy and consume because if you don't, well, there's nothing to play. So it's either you have something to play or you don't. And that's why so many gamers have turned into consumers because there's nothing to play. She don't love it, it's so sad. She don't love and it's so sad. She don't love and it's so sad. Worst generations of consoles, yeah. Not great, I'll tell you that. Not great. Not great. Yep, the PS5 Pro likely out later in 2024, so we're probably thinking this holiday. Now, again, Sarah Bond at the Xbox podcast last week, or whatever that was, she talked about there potentially, seemingly rather, being hardware coming later this holiday. Now, to what extent that means, is that a new console? Is that a console refresh? Is that a new controller? I mean, we just really don't know. But it would make sense for Xbox to answer to this and say, here's our Xbox Series X Plus, Pro, whatever, refresh with no disk drive, and to take us into the generation even further. And then, of course, the Switch 2 coming in potentially early 2025, and then you have GTA 6 on top of that, somewhere within that year 2025. But it looks like there's a hardware refresh coming later this year, or early 2025, if all of the rumors are true. It looks like there's a hardware refresh from PlayStation and, of course, Nintendo. Nintendo has had the Switch out since 2017, and it is probably time for the Switch 2 if they're going to make that move, although it is going to be interesting to see what they do with the Switch 2, because, quite frankly, we could discuss it here, but it kind of flies over everyone's head. So it's best not to discuss the Switch 2 in here because no one really cares. And it's unfortunate because I would love to discuss the Switch 2 and say, well, where does Nintendo take the Switch 2? Is it going to be a repeat of the Wii U? Hopefully not, but nonetheless, how do you take the Switch and say, well, let's change it, but let's not change it enough to where the soccer mom gets confused, if that makes any sense. So, they don't want a repeat of the Wii U, and unfortunately, it could be a repeat of the Wii U. The Nintendo Switch is one of the best-selling consoles of all time, and right up there with PS2. Nintendo Switch is one of the best consoles of all time, and how do you maintain that success with a successor, the Switch 2? How do you maintain that success? I'm not so sure if you can. I think some of it was lightning in a bottle and the kind of new era of handheld console gaming, but now that's oversaturated, right? Now that's oversaturated. I mean, look, here's what Valve needs to do. Okay, here's what Valve needs to do. The Steam Deck right now, I mean, it's a great value, but the thing is too big and bulky. The bezels are insane on it. I'm sorry, but if Valve can say, hey, we're going to make Steam Deck 2 as small as the Nintendo Switch, that's a day one buy. That's a day one buy. If Valve can shrink the Steam Deck, or do a Steam Deck Mini or something, if Valve can shrink the Steam Deck to the size of the Nintendo Switch, it's a day one buy. Because that would be true portability in a way that makes sense, because the Steam Deck is just way too big. It's like a fucking Game Gear, and we're just not quite there. Or, even better, a PSP-type handheld where you could just throw it in your pocket and you got PC-quality games on a small device like that. I mean, that would be incredible. That would be incredible. But right now, the Steam Deck, yes, it's a great value. I mean, honestly, it kind of is. I mean, $400, and you can play most games at medium-low settings. But with that said, I mean, it does have drawbacks, and it is becoming more and more obsolete as time goes by here. So a refresh will probably be coming in the next couple of years. But with that said, if they can get the size down to the Switch, that would be really interesting to say the least. And if you don't have PlayStation Plus, no, you cannot play Helldivers solo. You can't even launch the damn game. Because we just tried that out, and I was actually surprised. I thought we would at least get into the main menu, but it's a paperweight game. You don't even own it. You're basically renting the game. Especially if you're on PlayStation Plus, you got to keep subscribing to PlayStation Plus. I mean, PlayStation, you got to keep subscribing to PlayStation Plus to continue playing. Could never. It's just crazy. Imagine paying for online. That should not be a thing. It wasn't a thing for the PS3 era, at least at the beginning. And then they rolled out PlayStation Plus in, 2014, 2015, something like that. And that changed everything, maybe sooner than that. But, it changed everything. PlayStation Plus, they looked at Xbox, and PlayStation said, let's copy Xbox. Everyone's paying for Xbox Live. Let's go ahead and roll our service out.
It's over.
That's what we're talking about. Nick coming through. Nick is in the building.
Nick Hogan super chatted $9.99.
Nick Hogan coming through.
Massive W, are you going to play the FF7 Rebirth demo update tomorrow fixing the performance? Also, the game releases next week.
Well, we might as well just wait at this point. There's no sense in playing the demo this late on, but apparently they're updating the demo to fix... Imagine updating the demo. That is insane. I mean, that's where the industry is at. Updating demos, bro, because the performances on the demos aren't even where they need to be. I mean, it's insane.
It's over.
Insane.
M0, 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 M super chatted $5. It's just sad people are clamoring over a $40 horde mode bug grinder. I enjoy horde mode, but it shows there ain't much going on in the PS5.
Yeah, it's utterly ridiculous. Well, it's because there's nothing else to play. I mean, you know, no one will be talking about Helldivers once Final Fantasy Rebirth gets a hold of the conversation, quite frankly. So they're just basically waiting. They need something to eat before the Final Fantasy, comes next week. And that's basically what it is. It's basically just a pit stop for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. You know, all the PlayStation fanboys love that slop. So they're basically just, they have to have something to play. And that's why this industry is in the shape that it's in, because, they don't release games much anymore, and the games that they do release are just remakes, remasters, sequels, prequels. It's the same old game. I mean, even Red Dead Redemption 2, you could argue, is the same game. When you really break it down, it's the same kind of format, and, you know, that character didn't exist in the original game. And I'm not here to talk about that game because, well, we've already talked enough about it, but you know, it's basically a soft reboot of it. I mean, quite frankly, when you really break it down, it's basically a soft reboot. Because no one wants to play as John Marston's son. I mean, it's just not really that interesting. So they had to back it up and say, let's do a prequel. What are the events that happened before? And throw in this character that never existed. Arthur Morgan never existed in Red Dead Redemption 2010, and the Rockstar fanboys were like, oh yeah. You know what I mean? She don't love it, it's so sad. She don't love it, it's so sad. She don't love it, so... Well, they were shilling Hogwarts Legacy last year, and I thought, man, this is terrible. All it took was them to explore Hogwarts and Unreal Engine, and they were like, it's Game of the Year, Game of the Year. In fact, Hogwarts Legacy was the best-selling game of last year, bro. I mean, that's where the industry is at. Hogwarts Legacy was the best-selling game last year. Bro, Hogwarts Legacy, the best-selling game of last year. And unfortunately, the game just ain't great. There's nothing to do in it. It's very bare bones. There's no depth to the actual Hogwarts or anything like that. You know, there's no schedules. It's not like Bully at all. It's not like Persona at all. You know what I mean? Where you could like roam around and go to class, and you can't do any of that. It's just missions. It's just like, here's this empty, barren wasteland. We have characters standing kind of close to things, so it looks like they're doing something because they couldn't be bothered to animate any of them. And it's just a sad excuse for a Harry Potter game. I mean, in that universe, and they could have did it so much better. But, the normies didn't care. They went out and bought it. They bought Hogwarts Legacy. And by the way, that game requires internet, too, to download the rest of the game. So you can't even play the game from the disc. But the boomers, they love it. They've sat down and they have come to the realization that the normies are in control, and, they love digital slop, and She don't love, and it's so sad. 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 She don't love it, it's so sad. She don't love it, it's so sad. Alrighty, so again, if you're just tuning in, the PlayStation 5 Pro is coming later this year. And, look, the only thing that would sell me on this is if GTA 6 is really great. Well, I'm not going out and buying the PS5 Pro if GTA 6 isn't good. There's no point in that. Now, if GTA 6 releases early 2025, then that might entice some people to go out and pick up a PlayStation 5 Pro to get ready for that game, to experience it in the best way possible. But with that said, if GTA 6 is garbage and it doesn't live up to expectations, because it's got a lot to live up to, quite frankly, then it will be a waste unless Sony has some other surprises up their sleeve to say, hey, yeah, now you can play this game that you know and love, in 4K, true 4K, 60 frames, no compromises, with ray tracing on. I mean, it has to be at that point. We cannot keep switching between performance and fidelity, performance and fidelity, performance and fidelity. It needs to just have everything enabled 4K 60, true 4K at 60 frames. If we can't even do that with the PlayStation 5 Pro, then how long are we going to have to wait for 4K 60? Because we need to get over that barrier sooner rather than later so that these games can focus on something else. Because I think that's kind of the limit in terms of frame rate and resolution, at least for the time being. I mean, you can go further, but that's almost, well, that's just crazy. I guess 8K in the next 20 years or something, but not even that, next 10 years. But nonetheless, once they get over the 4K 60 hurdle, they won't have to focus on fidelity mode. They won't have to focus on performance mode. They won't have to focus on the resolution and frame rate. And maybe, just maybe, they'll have to focus on the gameplay mechanics. And maybe, just maybe, they'll have to focus on the actual interactivity of the game and elements that gamers actually want, instead of these woke movie games where you just press a few buttons and then cutscenes play out. And everyone loves it because the graphics are so damn good. We have to make gaming great again, and more importantly, we have to make gaming fun again. And how you do that is quit prioritizing frame rate and resolution, and not only that, but with that said, you have to, you have to put out compelling software. And right now, we are still waiting for some compelling software. Is it too soon for the PlayStation 5 Pro? Yes, it is. Because kind of 2020 doesn't really even count. Even 2021 doesn't even count because of COVID, and it was still hard to find a PS5 until basically like last year, the year before, or something like that. So it has been a challenge to find a PS5 for the first couple of years there. And now that you can easily find a PlayStation 5, no one wants one because there's no games. I mean, Spider-Man 2 was their big game last year. That turned out to be just kind of meh. Even the Spider-Man fanboys kind of just sit there and say, yeah, Spider-Man 2 was good, but it wasn't really as great as the first game. Because the first game hit different. The first game was like, wow, this is actually something new for the Spider-Man franchise, the games. Insomniac's never done something like this. Their biggest open world and blah, 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 blah. But now it's just basically the same thing over and over and over again, and it's worse. We compared Spider-Man PS4 to Spider-Man 2. We went to the same locations. You couldn't find this content anywhere else. And holy shit, is it soulless. I mean, they clearly went through with an AI upscaler and just said, AI, do this. There's no handcrafted anything. The graffiti looked way faker. Sure, it was higher resolution, but it's supposed to look like fucking graffiti. The soul is gone. The soul is gone. So if you go back and you compare Spider-Man PS4 to Spider-Man 2 on PS5, yeah, it looks crisper, but at what cost? Well, it's soulless. We did a whole long stream on that. We compare multiple parts of the city, and the only improvement is basically the speed of the game, and there's just a lot of cracks in Spider-Man 2, and it's sad. They had how many years? 4 or 5 years to make something good. And they basically made the same game, and they focused on all of this. Well, let's just not even get into it, but it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Yeah, there's so many PlayStation 5s. Nobody wants them because there's no software. Okay, software drives hardware. You're not buying the hardware without the software. Duh. How does Sony not realize that? Well, how do you fix this problem? Well, you have to stop making these quadruple A games, and you have to make smaller games that are, that require less resources, less money, less time, a smaller dev team. We need to make smaller games, not massive games that take 20 years to make, because that's basically what it's coming down to. I mean, it's already getting ridiculous at this point. It's going to be a 20-year dev cycle for these massive games. Do you think The Last of Us Part 3 is coming out in the next 5 or 8 years? I really doubt it. It maybe will be announced or teased by then in the next 5 or so years, but it isn't releasing anytime soon. And that's what I'm saying. It's just like, Naughty Dog worked on that multiplayer component for The Last of Us for how many years? And then they just said, well, we're done. We're not releasing it. And that's it. So, these games are way too ambitious. They need to cut the dev time down to basically just 2 years at max, if that, and just get these games going. I mean, one thing you can say about Call of Duty is that it's always there. And they figured that out a long time ago, Say what you want about Call of Duty, but you're getting a new one every year. And, well, it's interesting to say the least. She don't love and it's so sad. She don't. Helldivers 2 is trash. Imagine just sitting there and saying that game is amazing because you didn't like the Suicide Squad. Well, it's the same game. It's literally the same game. You can get together in a team. You shoot things that move on the screen. It's the same game. Oh, but the Suicide Squad is trash because it's a live service game. That was literally a talking point 3 weeks ago. That was literally a talking point for the Suicide Squad. And they said, well, we don't want live service. We want the old Batman Arkham games, which they never played. This generation never played any of those games, because I went to the Steam thing, and it showed that no one was playing those games, so they're all full of shit. But with that said, they hated the Suicide Squad because it was a live service game. Now they're shilling Helldivers for the exact same reason. Oh, we love getting together and saving the world and Helldivers, and we love playing with our friends. It's so much fun, this looter shooter or whatever the fuck that game is. It's more like a drop in and complete the tasks and then get back on the helicopter. So extraction DMZ shooter thing, which is, I guess, a little bit better than the looter shooter shit. But nonetheless, it should have had an offline mode. It should have had a bot mode. But they just don't care. And, why should they when the gamer doesn't care? The consumer sat there and said, we want the chicken cold. We want the ham cold. We don't care if you warm it up. So why is the cook going to go back and put it back on the fryer when it's not necessary? You see what I'm saying? When the consumer dictates that they are ready to just get bent over backwards and say, oh, I love it, well, then, there is going to be no change. There is going to be no change. It's that simple. It's that simple. The Xbox fanboys want Helldivers. Well, I mean, it would be a great Game Pass game, absolutely. It would be a great Game Pass game. I'm not going to lie on that. It would be a great Game Pass game, but it's not on Game Pass, and, Stalker 2 could be better than that. I'll tell you that, so. Because, again, that's on Game Pass day one, and that's when I'm resubscribing to Game Pass, unless there's a reason to in between now and then, to check out Stalker 2 and to see if that's going to live up to hype or if that's going to be just watered-down slop. Probably nothing like the first game. I played the first game a little bit, and it was pretty interesting to say the least. Big map, too. Big map. And not a casual game, though, I'll tell you that. Not a casual game. Not a casual game. But Stalker 2 will probably be movie game syndrome. Movie game syndrome. Play Pacific Drive. That looks like a snooze fest, but we'll see. The demo's been out for a while now, but I don't know if that looks interesting, to be honest. I mean, it might be boring. You just drive around, and then you find parts for the car, and then you fix it, and then I guess you go find more gas. I don't even know what it is, but it sounds like some weird indie stuff. That, I mean, everyone's shilling everything these days because there's no software. I mean, how many games have released in the last 3 weeks? You had Suicide Squad, big ones anyway. Suicide Squad. You had Skull and Bones. And then now we have Helldivers 2. But in addition to that, you had Tekken 8, you had Infinite Dragon, you had There was one more as well. But I already forgot all of those games. So they were shilling them. They were giving 9s out, 10s out for all these games. Persona 3 came out, but that's already been a thing. That's not a new game. That's just kind of a remake. I don't know. Helldivers 2 is a sequel. Suicide Squad is a new IP, actually, so that's something we can say about it. Infinite Dragon is more of the same. Tekken 8 is obviously the 8th Tekken. So every other game, the only new IP was the Suicide Squad. Unbelievable. The only new IP was the Suicide Squad, and guess what happened? The conservative gamer, because gamers are conservative, they can't get out of that basement. It doesn't matter what mommy says upstairs, okay? They can't get out of that basement. You think they'd come outside? It ain't happening. Unless Bloodborne gets remastered, they'll rush out to get that collector's edition at GameStop. But with that said, the gamer is conservative, and they don't want new IPs. That's why these companies, studios, these corporations don't greenlight any of this, because it's not going to work. It's just not going to work. They have the data. They can look at the forecast and say, well, if we make this original game, if we make this original story, how many people are buying it? Less than 5,000? Next. You know? I mean, honestly, it's hard to get new ideas off the ground. What you would basically have to do at this point is make an indie game of your own idea. Instead of trying to pitch it, you would I don't know how it works, but I know that's what they do in the movie business, right? But you would basically just kind of have to make your own version of what you want. And if it's a viral hit, if it's successful, then maybe you'll get it picked up in some capacity. But that's the only way you're going to be able to do it. Unless you're a big hotshot like Kojima or something like that. Then obviously the door's a little bit more open. But, if you're just trying to make a brand new IP and it's not a live service, so it's over. You might as well forget that one. Shut it down now. Or just, you're going to have to do it independently, which is fine. You will find support in the independent scene. They will support. But, it might not be a massive hit. Might not be a massive hit. GTA, we got to talk. Well, let me ask you this. Can you play Pal World offline? Because that's actually kind of crazy. That's kind of crazy, but it doesn't have a disc. Pal World is digital only. But I think you can actually play it offline. I think you can actually play Pal World offline. I already played Pal World. You guys didn't show up. I played it for 40 minutes, and it was a snooze fest. Horrible controls, horrible gameplay. It's cringe. If I wanted to play a Pokemon game, I'd play a Pokemon game. But this one has, Red Dead 2 elements. And it's like, you know what? The only game that actually maybe could be good, and this is going to piss some people off, Star Wars Outlaws. I think that could scratch the itch of like, well, this is basically Red Dead 2, kind of the style of Red Dead 2, open world. You can roam around, but with the Star Wars skin on it and incorporating some elements that Starfield failed at. We saw that Star Wars Outlaws demo last year. And if the game is anything like that, where you can get into the ship and then, seamlessly launch up into the atmosphere and then find other planets to go to, that is somewhat interesting. Now, if it's more linear than we think, then that could be underwhelming. But I think Star Wars Outlaws, and I don't think it's coming out this year because they have been awfully quiet, but Star Wars Outlaws could be somewhat interesting if it kind of just basically copies the formula of Red Dead Redemption 2. Basically, what we're looking for is a new Knights of the Old Republic. Let's get an RPG within the Star Wars universe, right? No online, none of that bullshit. Knights of the Old Republic style RPG. And if you can fuse that with Red Dead Redemption 2 elements, could be kind of interesting to say the least. So we'll have to see how that one turns out. Star Wars Outlaws. I don't think that's coming this year, though. They're too quiet. If it's supposed to come out later this year, then, we should be getting updates by at least June. But I don't know if that's coming. But it would be interesting to see. And again, if it's anything like they showed last year, Star Wars Outlaws, then it could be good. Is it going to be the W word? More than likely. But it doesn't matter because every game is. And, you know, if we can roam around and kind of, because I played Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and it's like, well, you know, they could have done so much here. It's just wasted potential. You know, you can go to the bar, but there's no RPG. I'm looking for an RPG. I'm not looking for this action-adventure game where you walk around and there's nothing to really do outside of upgrade your bullshit. And plus, Star Wars Jedi Survivor required internet as well. Because the game wasn't on the damn disc. And it's like, wow, the game doesn't really exist. When they shut the servers off, you're not going to be able to download the game ever again. So, you know, it's a game that literally that at some point will not exist. At least officially. So, think about that. I mean, you know, what's that Ubisoft game going offline later this year? The Crew, I think, yeah, they're going to take that game offline, so that game will never exist again. I don't know why so many gamers are just saying we love always online slop. I guess they know that these games are so, well, they're just flavor of the month titles. You know, you play these, you'll never play Helldivers 2 in March. You know, there's too many releases in March. You got Dragon's Dogma 2, you got WWE 2K, you got a couple of other releases as well, I believe. No one's playing Helldivers 2 in March. The game's going to be dead. So you can shill it now and say it's amazing, but once that initial honeymoon phase wears off, you're moving on to the next game, and that next game is going to be Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. And then in March, you got a couple of other big hits. Dragon's Dogma 2 is going to be a pretty big one for the fantasy crowd. There's so many fantasy games, it's sickening. Fantasy this, it's shooter or fantasy. That's all it is. It's ridiculous. That's all you get these days. Same ass genre over and over and over again. It's unbelievable. There's too many fantasy games. Like I don't remember there being that many fantasy games. Like you had Oblivion and Skyrim, but you know, you had some nerdy ass shit on PC, but like I don't remember the fantasy games infesting the console scene that much. I mean, sure, you had Fable and you know, Final Fantasy's always been around, but the fantasy stuff's getting out of control. Fantasy this, fantasy that, Baldur's Gate this, Baldur's Gate that. No one wants to play this crap. It's junk. You know, bring back Fight Night. Let's go. You know, bring something back that's actually fun and entertaining to look at. Holy shit. You know, you sit around and play these games and you're like, wow, like, this is really what we're doing in the game? Sitting here for hours just, like, not even doing these. Like, all of these games have turn-based combat, too. Like, could never be me playing that garbage. I mean, if you can do it right in a way that's somewhat interesting and engaging, then sure. But this turn-based combat phenomenon that's coming back is ridiculous. So at least the last Final Fantasy game that came out last year doesn't have turn-based combat. You know, maybe that's the game we should have played. Maybe that's the game we should have played, the Final Fantasy 16 from last year, PlayStation 5 exclusive, because the normies were complaining about how it wasn't like Final Fantasy, and it's like, well, that's what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for a Final Fantasy game when I buy a Final Fantasy game. You know what I mean? I'm looking for a refresh of Final Fantasy, and I think that maybe that's the one we should have played. We maybe should have played Final Fantasy 16 because they were complaining that it wasn't like Final Fantasy, and that's right up my alley. I don't want to play a Final Fantasy game. I want to play something that, you know, is a little bit different. Yeah, Baldur's Gate 3 is dead. Baldur's Gate 3 is dead. And let me ask you this. What happened to the physical release of Baldur's Gate 3? They said they were launching the game on PS5. Did that ever come to fruition? The Baldur's Gate 3 physical release, they said they were releasing Baldur's Gate 3 to the disc, and it didn't come to fruition. So sad. Not that I seen. Undisputed Boxing is coming to consoles. Yeah, but play Fight Night Round 3. I mean, the graphics in Fight Night Round 3 are still really good. The animations are obviously dated now. But there was something about Fight Night Round 3 that was just kind of forward-thinking. You know, you didn't have any HUD. You know, it's just one of those games where it's like, wow, this is kind of taking it to the next level. And great timing on that with the next generation consoles to really showcase the technology, great tech demo, and not only that, but just a great game, fun to play. Hello? 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 120,000 people still playing Baldur's Gate 3? Yikes. Could never be me. 120,000 people are just sitting there doing nothing in that game. Oh my God. if they streamlined the combat, if they made the combat interesting, you know, I could have played it. But I can't with that top-down shit, because every time you go into combat, it goes, you know, I like the camera behind the character, so it looks like a generic third-person shooter. And then when you go into combat, it goes to top-down, and it's just like, no, I'm not playing this. I'm sorry. It's just, I can't with that combat. If they make Baldur's Gate 4 and they revamp the combat, or at least have an option to play it in a normie kind of way, where you actually press a button and attack, and it's not just some quick time fucking thing or whatever, then that could be okay. But the combat currently as it stands isn't great, so not for me anyway. It's just not for me. But you know, it's a Dungeons and Dragons game. You know, it's one of those games where you sit down and you just admit that you're a 400-pound loser. You're never going to get outside of your basement, and you're never going to see a pussy. And you know that I mean, I hate to say that and stereotype, but quite frankly, that is kind of the demographic and the audience for a game like Baldur's Gate 3. You know, I mean, but you have to know your audience. I mean, if I were making Baldur's Gate 3, I would, you know, that's who we're making the game for. So we're going to make it as best as possible. You know, you have to know your audience, and you know, that is kind of the audience, the Magic the Gathering crowd, the Dungeons and Dragons crowd. And it's like, well, I don't know what any of that bullshit is, because I'm not a loser, right? It could never be me. I didn't even play the Pokemon game. I just got the cards because they were cool. You know, I didn't actually play the fucking game. And the Digimon cards and things like that. But quite frankly, you know, and there's not even, when's the next Doom game coming out? You know, they stopped making the Doom games. I mean, it's been how many years since Doom Eternal? I mean, that game was terrible too. The monsters look like fucking Fortnite characters. Like, literally, it looked like the monster doesn't look scary at all. It looks like, you know, something you would see in Fortnite. And it's like, wow, this is trash. This is supposed to be like a game for Satanists. And it's like, yeah, motherfucker. You know, that's Doom. And now you're selling out and just saying, well, Doom is nice, and, you know, we're woke over here at, what's the studio that makes Doom? Bethesda? It's not Bethesda, it's a publisher. ID Tech Max, or whatever the fucking studio is called, ID Software. Well, they probably went woke too. And there was some drama with the composer. The composer and them were going back and forth, and there was big drama, so. I mean, the soundtrack wasn't bad. The soundtrack was the best thing about those new Doom games. Doom 2016.
It's over.
That's what we're talking about. Someone coming through hard and strong.
Miles super chatted £5. Gaming nowadays is catered towards the woke blue-haired feminists. How sad gaming
well, this
is
crowd, this
completely
yeah, exactly.
Dead.
This,
White
well, this,
flag,
this, this,
rain
this, well,
bow,
this,
white flag, rain bow, white flag, white flag.
Back to the USSR. Yeah, well, this crowd loves, this crowd is woke, and they secretly love that shit. So, Cody coming through. Let's get you the confetti, bud. Cody coming through. Let's get you the confetti, bud. Cody's coming through. Let's get you the confetti here. Cody coming through. Well, Doom Eternal was a total disaster. Doom Eternal was a total disaster. I played it, and it's one of the most repetitive games of all time. And then they added platforming in like it was some fucking Mario game, and it's like, yeah, this is way overrated. Doom used to be a lot better than that, you know. There used to be more soul and turned into normie garbage. Hey, look, I just built a PC and I'm going to run Doom Eternal at 240 frames. I'm so cool. You know, that's the Doom crowd now. It's not like edgelord in the basement. It's more like, hey, I just got this new NVIDIA graphics card, and look at the frames in Doom Eternal. You know, that's basically the Doom crowd now. Could never be me. Could never be me.
Alone in the Dark is coming out next month. There's also a new game in the works, called Hollow Body. We don't have to depend on dull Capcom anymore, House.
Okay, yeah, so Alone in the Dark is coming out next month as well. So, yeah, March is going to be a big month. You got 3 releases right there, WWE 2K, Alone in the Dark, and not Baldur's Gate, but Dragon Dogma 2. So, 3 big games right there, and I'm sure there's more that I'm missing. Yeah, and Capcom will be putting out, well, this might be the first year that Capcom doesn't release anything Resident Evil related. We'll have to see, but I think this might be a break year, and next year maybe Resident Evil 9, but they might tease Resident Evil 9 sometime this year, probably around June if I had to guess, if they're going to go down that road. Because it's been a few years since Resident Evil Village, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025. That'll put them at a decent spot. And, well, hopefully they save the Resident Evil franchise because, quite frankly, it's in the shitter. It is in the shitter. And now they have to resort to remakes to bringing it back to get people to care. And it's sad. That's how you know it went off the it jumped the shark. I mean, I was into Resident Evil 7. We just played through it a little bit ago for the 7th anniversary of Resident Evil 7. And we played through it, and it got to a point where it just got really dumb. Okay, it turned into a generic. It went from a unique experience to a generic Resident Evil experience. You have 3 Jack Baker boss fights. You got the car garage boss fight, very unique. Never seen that before in a Resident Evil game. You have the chainsaw boss fight, very unique. Never seen that before in a Resident Evil game in that capacity. And then the third boss fight is, oh, he's this tentacle creature now, and you shoot the fucking big orange eyeballs on, the different parts of the creature. Wow, I'm turning the game off. It's trash. And then you go to the ship, and it gets even worse and worse and worse with these cringy fucking flashbacks of, like, who are these characters? Why do I give a shit? So it really could have been great, but it just turned into a generic, dull Resident Evil game. I think had they just made the Baker family part bigger and just kept it right within that mansion, boom, done, would have been great. And I think you do return after the ship, but there was no reason to go to the ship. Trash. Could have been great, but they really flopped on that one. But the opening few hours of the game are not bad for Resident Evil 7. That's the thing with the Final Fantasy talk. I just said, well, I don't want to play a Final Fantasy game when I see Final Fantasy. I mean, because they're all the same, right? Okay, well, when I play a Resident Evil game, the one thing I want is it to not be like a Resident Evil game. You know what I mean? Let's do something fucking new. And they sort of did, but they sort of didn't. So it is a mixed bag. It is a mixed bag. Well, I'm wondering if Resident Evil. I'm wondering if Resident Evil 9 is going to be on the next RE engine. Guys, they've announced a successor to the current RE engine, and there's no game on that right now. You guys told me Dragon's Dogma 2 is on that. It's not. This is a brand new successor engine to the RE engine. It's called something else. It's called something else. And I don't know if RE9 will be the first game to be on it, but it might. Shido. Just go play Helldivers 2 because you want to come in here and chill. It never made me imagine chilling Helldivers 2. Yikes.
Leon Reaper super chatted
Leon Reaper coming through.
The only tentacles I want is in my knit eye.
What? Leon Reaper coming through. That's what we're talking about. Leon Reaper coming through with the 5. That's what we're talking about. Leon Reaper coming through with the 5. Guys, you can look it up for yourself. They just announced it. You guys don't even know what I'm talking about. It's a successor to the current RE engine. It's a next generation edition of the engine, and it's probably not going to be coming into any of the games until the next few years. She don't love it, it's so sad. She don't love it, it's so sad. Let's hit the like button, folks. Let's hit the like button, folks. The show must go on here. That I know that I can tell you. Modded Skyrim. Yeah, it's called the Rex engine. There we go. That's what it's called. Yep, the Rex engine. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with that, but I think that's a few years down the road. I think that's a few years. I don't think Resident Evil 9 will even be on that. So maybe the Code Veronica remake, if they go down, or the Resident Evil 5 remake, rather. Probably the Resident Evil 5 remake, probably the Resident Evil 5 remake on the Rex engine. Big selling point there. That's what I'm assuming right there, the RE5 on the Rex engine. Yeah, I think that would be interesting. It's the next generation. It's the next generation RE engine game, the Rex engine. You miss 3D platformers? Then go play Nintendo. They just released eight exclusives last year. Mario Wonder, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, Pikmin 4. I mean, it goes on and on and on. Nintendo won, and Nintendo is still winning, and they're not going to take the L. Now, the Switch 2 is going to be an interesting thing to see how that plays out. But right now, Nintendo is in first place, and they are going to remain at first place. Hell, the Switch will probably be the best-selling console until... well, it will be for many years to come. Nothing's going to outpace the Switch. I don't even think the Switch 2 would. That's what I'm saying. It's like I cannot imagine being in Nintendo's shoes where they think, well, we want to innovate a little bit, but we also want to keep it, you can't deviate from the Switch and just make an all-new console anymore because that was a massive success. It's like, well, the Nintendo Entertainment System, you go from that to the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, there you go. Maybe you call it the Super Switch. Hell, I think I just figured it out. Yeah, they call it the Super Switch, and it's pretty obvious that it's an updated version of what you know and love, but there's also a few more things added, and it's fully backwards compatible, and everyone's going to go out and buy it. But really, is that enough? You have to ask yourself, is that enough? If there's not a new way to play, if there's not a new way to experience the software, I'm not so sure if it is, and what is the reason? If the games are still coming to the original Switch, what would be the reason to go to the Super Switch? That's what I'm saying. You have to innovate, but you also cannot innovate to a point where it's like, well, we're going to stay with our Switch. So you have to find a balance of new and old. And the Wii U was, one of those things that if the soccer mom is confused, you've lost the console war. Okay, not that that's a thing anymore. But if the soccer mom doesn't know what's what, because imagine a normie consumer, an average Joe walking into GameStop and asking about, Series X and Series S and what they do, what the differences are. It's like, holy shit. It's like you got to do the marketing for these corporations because they're so stupid. It's ridiculous. It's like, dude, just make it obvious what it is and what it does and how it's better. It's not hard. It's not hard. When the new iPhone comes out, it primarily is the same thing, but it's better, and then you have to ask yourself, well, do I need to upgrade? And if you haven't upgraded in like 5 years, then yeah, it's going to be a big jump. But if you just upgraded the last couple of years or so, there's probably not much of a reason to get the new phone unless you're a nerd. It's getting windy out here, folks. Getting windy out here. It's getting windy out here. And I'm sure you can hear that. It's getting windy out here, getting colder out here as well. We want genuine discussion, peace and love era, let's go. You obviously have no interest in what I'm talking about. It's what we talked about yesterday. We don't care about PS5 Pro, we don't care about Switch 2. Then what do you care about? Well, let's talk about the Beatles movie. The Beatles movie has been officially announced. It's coming in 2027. There's 4 different versions of the film, I guess, and it's gonna do all 4 of their perspectives. I think that's very interesting. That's a very unique approach, and I think the Beatles deserve that. And we're going to go to the theater and watch all 4 of them, you know what I mean? But that's in 2027, so that's a decade away, basically, at this point. Well, that means GTA 6 will be out before the Beatles film, so. But they are, they have to capitalize off of the success of the Queen movie, and the Nirvana movie will be next. Courtney Love's going to look at the Beatles movie, and she'll be like, wow, I need some money. And, she'll finally say, let's do it, and they'll finally make the Kurt Cobain movie, and she don't love it, it's so sad, the saddest. What happened to the Splinter Cell remake? Don't know. Who cares about Splinter Cell? They should just cancel that. No one cares about Splinter Cell in 2024. That franchise, when was the last Splinter Cell game? 2012 or 2013? No one cares about that. It's dead. That's been over 10 years ago, dude. Those franchises are dead. You got to remake it at this point. You got to reboot it. You got to tell the normies why they need to love it. And that's why the Dead Space remake failed, because they catered and pandered to boomers, the 5,000 boomers that bought Dead Space on 360 and PS3. And it's like, yeah, you're not going to get any sales. There's no DLC. There's no roadmap. Who the fuck greenlit that at EA? I'll never understand that, how they got that off the ground. It should have had it should have had multiplayer or something, something new to say, here you go, outside of like, well, we have better graphics, we have better sound effects, and it's like, well, no shit. I mean, if you're charging $70 for that woke remake, then yeah, I mean, it better have at least great visuals and sound, but it's not necessary. It was the most redundant remake you could have ever made, because it's really, it's a remaster and it's also a remake, so they didn't really even have direction. Plus, they that's the reason why it failed, is because they didn't have direction. They talked to Dead Space like Twitch experts who like stream the game 24/7, and speedrunners and losers like that. They went to the fans and the community to well, how do we make it? We're developers. It looks like you have 400 hours in Dead Space, and we have a few questions on how to make our games just so great. Can you please be a consultant on our project, because we have no vision, we have no direction. It's ridiculous. And that's why the game flopped. You have to have direction, you have to have vision, and that's one of the things that I can say about Saints Row 2022. They put their foot down and they said, go fuck yourself. And you know what? I kind of respect it. Yeah, the company's no longer in business, but who cares? They went out the way they wanted to, with their version of the game, and it is what it is. Saints Row was never really that great. I mean, it's always been a GTA knockoff. I mean, the only good one is basically Saints Row 2. If you want me to be honest, the only good Saints Row is Saints Row 2. Saints Row 3 jumped the shark with that silly-ass bullshit. And Saints Row 4, you're flying around like fucking Harry Houdini. Yeah, I'm not playing that super fantasy bullshit. So Saints Row 2 was the one that was really good, and it was a nice change of pace from playing GTA 4 that was like, more realism, and the Euphoria engine and all of that crap. And, you jump over to Saints Row 2, and it's like, wow, this is actually fun. Rockstar wants to depress us in Liberty City, and, the American dream, Nico, let's go bowling. That's what they wanted to do over and over again, and it's like, no, I'm not having fun here. This game's trash. They took out parachutes, they took out 5-star wanted level, they took out the chainsaw, they took out everything from San Andreas almost, and it's like, yeah, this game does suck. Great graphics, physics are fantastic, but that's about it. I mean, if it didn't have the physics system, it'd be way worse. So, Saints Row was the answer. Saints Row 2 was the answer to say, hey, yeah, you're bored in Liberty City, come over here to Stillwater and we're going to have some fucking fun. It's all about having fun in Saints Row 2. She don't love it, it's so sad. Well, Saints Row 2 has a mini. This is the best part of Saints Row 2. There's an actual zombie mini game in the whole game, it's really cool. It's a horde mode within the game. Like, you just turn the TV on and play the mini game, and it's like, wow, this is actually a little bit more in depth than it probably needs to be, and it's just really fucking cool. Especially in 2008, it's like, yeah, we're playing this shit all night. That's when gaming was fun. It was just a bunch of chads coming together in the basement, a lot of nerds coming together, and just making a fun game. It wasn't about, any of the bullshit that it is about now. And that's why gaming isn't where it is. You have to understand the culture has shifted. Duh! You have to understand that the culture has shifted. Duh! The studios are sanitized now. Rockstar went woke, and you think GTA 6 is going to be good? Let's not even have that discussion, because we're too early. But when you play the game in 2025 with your PS5 Pro, and you see that, wow, you bought a PS5 Pro for nothing? Well, that should have been obvious since the first trailer for GTA 6 that, yes, this is going to be a different game. And you want to sit there and argue that it's not, it's the last game from Rockstar. And it's like, no, the last game from Rockstar is dead. Go play Manhunt 1 and tell me that that's the same studio. It's not. It's done. It's done. but we want to romanticize Rockstar and pretend like they're the same company because we just have faith still. And it's like, Arthur, you gotta have faith, Arthur. Well, I understand that, and I'm looking forward to GTA 6, but at the same time, I'm going in with lower expectations because I'm not trying to get disappointed. Give me 20 minutes with the game, and I can probably tell you if it's great or not. Literally. Just give me 20 minutes with GTA 6, and I can tell you if this is the next big thing or if this is not living up to expectations. And I can cut it some slack. We know that the studio has changed, so we're not expecting massive levels of, a quantum leap in gameplay design. But I think it should be above and beyond the rest. Should be way above Red Dead Redemption 2. If it's similar to Red Dead Redemption 2 and they just call it a day and say, well, we just, we're focusing on realism, but it's not fun, and well, that's just Red Dead Redemption 2 reskinned. I'm not looking for Red Dead Redemption 2 reskinned. We're looking for a next level sort of open world experience, and if it cannot deliver that in any sort of capacity, then it might be pointless. I'm a normie. I love video. I'm a normie. I love video. Helldivers 2, you better play it, because if you ain't playing it, you a fake gamer. She does not love, and it's so sad. All right, give me one moment here. 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 Never mind. We're not logged in. Not doing it. She don't love, and it's so sad. So basically, yeah, if you get the PlayStation 5 Pro, I mean, you're talking, well, you're talking $500 for the PS5 Pro more than likely, and then another $70 on top of, on that for GTA 6. So you're basically buying the PS5 Pro for GTA 6. I mean, that's basically why you guys are going to be buying this for GTA 6. She don't love, it's so sad, the saddest it's ever been. She don't love, it's so sad, the saddest it's ever been. She don't love, it's so sad, the saddest it's ever been. What exactly is a normie? Well, if I have to explain it, then you don't get it. The Switch is a knockoff of the Vita. Yeah, but no one buys PlayStation crap. PlayStation was only relevant for the PlayStation 1 and 2. Once the PlayStation 3 came out, that was the Xbox One for PlayStation. I mean, it was, the PS3 was based, don't get me wrong, but, they shot themselves in the foot when Ken Kutaragi came out on stage and said, giant enemy crab and $599 or whatever the price was. It's like, no one's buying that shit. And, it's funny because, people bitch about Xbox One being this, like, all-in-one entertainment device. But go back and look at the press conference for the PS3 and look at the I.O. On the console. I mean, it was obviously trying to be... it was trying to basically replace the computer. The PlayStation 3 was. You could install your own operating system on it. It was basically trying to replace the computer to do everything. It was the Xbox One before the Xbox One. The PlayStation 3 could play all of the previous generation titles, PS1, PS2. You could install an operating system on it. You could just do so much. And that was what they tried to do. This all-in-one box, and I think Xbox looked at that and said, well, we're going to fucking answer, and I guess they were still too soon with the Xbox One, but nonetheless, if they introduced the Xbox One today, everyone would love it, and quite frankly, Xbox wasn't wrong. I mean, Don Matrick, they were not wrong. It was the right direction to go in, Yeah, that's what gamers want to do. They don't want to play games because the gaming industry is already dead by then. You know what I mean? They want to watch Netflix. They want to, hey, Xbox, snap Netflix to your game experience. That was based. You got two things going up on the screen. Fantastic. She don't love, and it's so sad. Yeah, the cell processor. Some say the cell processor is still more powerful than the processors that released today, and I don't know if that's true or if it's some meme. But a few years ago they were saying that. I don't know about now, but a few years ago, like 4 or 5 years ago, they were saying that the cell processor was actually still more powerful than the current lineups of CPU. But couldn't tell you if that's the case. Well, Don Matrick wasn't wrong. I mean, he just told it like it was, and people cannot handle things like that, believe me. And it's sad, but, you know, he wasn't wrong. Jeff Keighley asked that question like, well, you know, we heard about the online stuff for Xbox One. I mean, what would you recommend? And I'm paraphrasing, of course. I don't know if that was the exact question, but he basically just said, yeah, we have a solution for you, and it's Xbox 360. It was you know what? Actually, it was a ridiculous question from Jeff Keighley. It was very snarky. It wasn't professional at all. You know, it was something about some sub. It was really dumb. I remember now. It's almost like some fucking submarine. Like, what if you're on a submarine and you want to play Xbox One or some fucking bullshit like that? And it's like, who the fuck's asking questions like that? No wonder why Don Matrick, you know, retaliated and said, well, we have an answer for you. It's Xbox 360. Like, no one's playing video games on a fucking submarine. These gamers can't even play the game at the home. Okay. Why do you think these corporations are saying play anywhere and play everywhere? Because the gamer's not even playing the game at the home anymore. They're looking at the data. No one's playing video games anymore. Oh, there's 100,000 people playing fucking Helldivers, Michael. Yeah, because they're all virgins. That's the entire PC fan base. Those numbers are not impressive. No one's playing Helldivers 2 on the PS5. I can tell you that right now. I don't need numbers to tell you that. It's common sense. No one is playing that garbage. That's the entire... PC gaming is not popular because you have to have money to buy a PC. PC gaming is not for poor peasants. When you understand that, then you will realize that the player base for PC gaming is actually fucking low. That's why Sony and Jim Ryan's saying, hey, we're going to throw out these irrelevant PlayStation exclusives that you cared about 5 years ago. Here they are now on PC for 5,000 people, you know, that have a graphics card, they can run it. You guys are not listening. PC gaming has never been for the normie. Well, not the normie, but the poor peasant. I mean, that, quite frankly, it's always been an elitist thing. And it always will be. The PC master race is a thing. You know, they do this circle jerk of like, oh, I got a 4090, man. And, you know, I know NVIDIA's releasing the 5090 later this year. Yeah, I can't wait to go get that too. Shut your bitch ass up. Go fucking smell it. Let's get a one in the chat. 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 You guys are falling asleep out here. Unbelievable. Jeez. You guys are falling asleep out here. You know, we had more viewers yesterday because, again, DRAMA. You guys just can't get enough of it. Sad. But, you know, when you talk about video games, they can't, you know, imagine subscribing to a channel where the primary topic is video games, and then, like, you subscribe to that channel, and then you, like, want something else from it. You know what I mean? Like, well, then why subscribe? When have I ever made drama videos? Never. So I don't know why y'all are here, because we ain't doing the drama, bud. It's not happening. We'll take the hit on views. I don't care. We're not going to sit here and argue with people that just want to argue every day. It's just like, you know, go buy a fucking chocolate bar and, you know, maybe you'll get the golden ticket to Wonka's fucking factory. Jeez. You know, you can be doing something like that instead of fucking arguing for no reason because, well, I don't know. People just love to argue for the sake of arguing. It's just like, I mean, it can be fun at times, don't get me wrong, you know. But it's not healthy, certainly. It's all about peace and love, peace and love. No, I think we might need to play Mario Wonder at some point. I mean, I think that actually could be a fun game. That could be a fun game. And now that the hype has kind of died down, you know. Because, I mean, it's either that or a bunch of fantasy games that are coming out in the next couple of weeks. Could never be me playing those fantasy games. I mean, maybe Final Fantasy 16. I mean, if it's really not like a Final Fantasy game, that could be interesting. But, you know, I mean, if you're doing these cutscenes that are like 8 hours long and it's just like it's just irrelevant garbage of like, you know, I don't even know what happens in these fantasy games because it's just, it's ridiculous. She don't love it, it's so sad. She don't love it, it's so... I told you to play Mario Wonder. Okay, well, I already know how the Nintendo fanboys are. I made a video on the Nintendo Switch a few years ago, 7 years ago, 6 years ago, and they attacked me. The Nintendo fanboys did, so they get really upset about stuff. And it's like, well, if I get bored of Mario Wonder and I say it's trash, they're already going to get really mad and upset. So, but I will tell you that Nintendo, you know, they prioritize fun, and that's something that the other publishers just can't be bothered to do. I mean, you know, these PlayStation 5 games, these Xbox games are very seldom fun. It's busy work, it's chore, it's task, it's checklist. It's like, bro, why would you want to spend time in these games doing absolutely nothing and completing tasks in these games? And, you know, you don't even own Helldivers 2, so it's like all of that progress that you make will eventually become nothing when they turn the servers off in 5-10 years. So you're playing it for no reason. I mean, you might as well pick up the guitar and learn how to play the G chord because you could impress her then, but if you're going to spend 200 hours in Helldivers, you ain't impressing anybody. You know what I mean? So she don't love, so sad. Yeah, cry more. It was a pleb filter stream and it showed people's true colors, so sorry that you didn't understand it. A lot of people showed up that just couldn't be bothered to show up, so I'm not going to talk about it. You know, that was yesterday. Today's stream is the stream that matters, so I don't know why you're on yesterday. You know, you guys get so hung up on stuff. It's like you have no life. Like, you literally wake up to exist. Like, what were you doing before this show? Were you watching? Hey, how you doing? Were you watching someone else? Because it's like some of you guys didn't even exist before this show, if that makes any sense. Like in some weird thing. It's like this is your world. So what were you doing before you found this world? She don't love, it's so sad. A lot of toxicity in the chat about gaming is dead, and it's like, well, what do you want me to tell you? Go back to 4channel, go back to V and shill whatever they're shilling over there. Helldivers probably. Go make a Helldivers thread and say it sucks, and all the replies are going to say it's amazing. You're a loser, right? Now, if you make a thread that says Helldivers 2 is amazing, they're going to come in and say it's trash. That's how it works. They play contrarian to everything you say. So if you want to make a thread that agrees with your actual opinion, you have to go against that when you make the thread. You know, I mean, that's just how it works. Believe me. I would know. She don't love, so sad. She don't love, so sad. Far Cry 7 leaked. If I look this up and it didn't leak, we're going to get you up out of here, bud. Far Cry 7 leaked. Where? Wrong. Not seeing anything new. September 2023. That's not new, bud. That's not new. I think we're going to have to get you up out of here. Far Cry 7 leaked, by the way. Okay, buddy. Well, you know what else leaked? Your ceiling. Huh. It's been leaking for weeks. And you love it. Has anyone played Hitman Blood Money on the Switch? That's a great question. You know what? That actually would be a good game to play on the Switch, because the Switch can handle that game, and not only that, but yeah, that could be an interesting game on the Switch. Great game, by the way, too. That's the last great Hitman game. After that, I mean, Absolution was pretty good, but obviously a different direction for which is needed. Sometimes you have to shake things up a little bit. And then they make these 3 terrible, always online DRM games, absolute slop from top to bottom. Hitman 1, 2, 3, the new trilogy, terrible, horrible. Just not great. And here's a generic level, and no, garbage. Got to be online to unlock half of the shit in the game. Like, it's junk. It's anti-consumer. It just, they don't care about the gamer. That's basically what they said. Log on to Square Enix account to unlock all of Hitman Agent 47's gear, and it's like, no, go fuck yourself, dude. And you can't even play it now offline. It wouldn't even let me play the new, because they rebundled all of the games, because they just live service episodic garbage, horrible, just absolute trash from top to bottom. Yet they shill it on Reset Era, they shill it on V, they shill it everywhere. Like, the new Hitman games are based. No, they're not. They're fucking trash. Just play Blood Money. It's based. It's got better levels. It's it's dated, but that's a part of the charm. That's a part of the charm. It's getting cold out here. I think the warm-up is over. It's getting cold out here. She don't love it, so sad. She don't love it, so sad. All right, we're going to be gifting the 5 memberships. No one reminded me, but I just remembered, because I would have forgot about that. So we're going to go ahead and gift the 5 memberships here. We're going to go ahead and gift the 5 memberships here, since no one else can support, right? I got to support my own show. It's very sad. Of course, I'm joking, but maybe I'm not. All right, let's go over here. We're going to gift the 5 memberships here. We're going to gift the 5 memberships here. We got to go over here and do it this way, because YouTube is absolute trash. It's not giving me the option. So we're going to give the 5 memberships here. We're going to give the 5 memberships here. We're going to give the 5 memberships here. Yeah, and here we go. There we go. We just gifted 5 memberships. We just gifted 5 memberships. We just gifted 5 Well, actually, it's not going. There we go. All right, finally loaded. We gifted 5 memberships. Let's see who is a part of the winner's circle over here, the winner's club. Oh, Lord. It gave it to a bunch of fucking trolls. Of course. That's why this platform is absolute garbage. Oh my God, and you guys love it. Oh, YouTube. It's trash. You can't even select who you gift it to. Now it goes to these fucking alt accounts and trolls, and like, yikes. Maybe if they reformed and said, thank you, Michael, it would be a different story, but they can't be bothered to do that, right? It always goes to the trolls. Unreal. She don't love it, so sad. She don't love it, so sad. We already get to the 5 members, so that's what we're talking about. Ball lesbians coming through hard and strong. Ball lesbians coming through hard and strong. Ball lesbians coming through hard and strong.
Lesbian super chatted $4.99. Are we watching the Nintendo Direct tomorrow morning? It is at 6 a.m. Pacific.
Yeah, that is.
Woman breastfeeding baby. Woman breastfeeding baby.
That is early, and I don't know if we can do that. I mean, things are moving. That is very early in the morning, and I don't have an answer to that. So the answer is probably no, but we'll see, because that's really fucking early, and I don't. I mean, if someone said they're announcing a new Resident Evil game at the Nintendo Direct, Revelations 3 or something, I mean, I really fucking doubt that, but we'll have to see. She don't love it, it's so sad, the saddest it's ever been. She don't love it, it's so sad, the saddest it's ever been. All right, let's get you them fireworks, bud. Get you the laser, bud. Bald lesbian coming through with the 5. That's what we're talking about. Chris in the building. Chris is in the building. Brand new member, Chris is in the building. That's what we're talking about. Chris is in the building. Brand new member, Chris is in the building. It's getting cold out here. I'm going to look at the temperature because I know it dropped. Yeah, I'm not so sure about that temperature. Let's see what it feels like here. 55 degrees Fahrenheit, by the way. You know what? I'm out here fucking... That wind's a killer. I don't know about no 55. We out here fucking freezing. That wind is really just cutting through here. And that wind is really just cutting through here. 55, by the way. Yeah, if you're in the fucking sun. Let's go ahead and hit the like button on the stream. Thank you so much. You guys are amazing. Let's go ahead and hit the like button on the stream. Thank you so much. You guys are amazing. He's still in here running his mouth and flapping gums? Wow. I'm surprised he wasn't banned by now. But the mods would have banned him. All right, chat is dying, and it might be time to wrap it up. There's too many wind gusts out here. It's getting colder and colder. And we've already discussed the PlayStation 5 Pro to the extent where there's nothing left to discuss, I believe, so... She don't love it, it's so sad, the saddest it's ever been. She don't love it, it's so sad, the saddest it's ever been. We've already played Skull and Bones twice, and we won't play it again. I'll just say that. I mean, it's basically free for 8 hours anyway, so there's no excuse if you want to try it. There's a free trial for like 8 hours, so you know that's what they had to do to get people. Really, that's really sad, but they had to release a free demo right when the game came out on release day because they already knew it was in the shitter. So. She don't love it, it's so sad, the saddest it's ever been. Come on, we're not doing this chat where you guys talk about other users. This is why this is so toxic over here, because you guys just rent free with other users. Like, who cares? What did they do to you? Like, did they, like, roll the red carpet out for you behind the scenes or something? Because you guys love shilling random people in here that I don't even know who the fuck they are, but you seemingly have a great impression of them. My God. It's over. That's what we're talking about. Uncle Grandpa coming through.
Uncle Grandpa super chatted $5.
Angry Grandpa.
Samurai gets no
Angry
girls
Grandpa.
in his life. And Michael
Angry
is goat, so he
Grandpa.
should pay for the new game
Angry
called
Grandpa.
Far Cry 7.
Angry Grandpa. That's what we're talking about. Angry Grandpa. Let's get the lasers out for you, bud. Angry Grandpa coming through with the 5. Angry Grandpa in the building. She don't love it, it's so sad, the saddest it's ever been. This is Running on Empty Food Review. Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Running on Empty Food Review. What a legend. What a legend. Oh, man. It's getting cold out here. She don't love it, it's so sad, the saddest it's ever been. The whole chat is off topic. They don't want to talk about the PS5 Pro. They don't want to talk about how GTA 6 is going to be a disaster. We're waiting for the chat to communicate in a way that makes sense. So let's go to the mobile chat. We have been ignoring the mobile chat here. Let's see what the mobile chat has to say. Let's see what the mobile chat has to say here. We haven't looked at the mobile chat at all. Let's see what the mobile chat has to say here. Let's see what the mobile chat has to say here. Let's see what the mobile chat has to say here. And that's dead too. Cool. She don't love it, it's so sad, the saddest it's ever been. She don't love it, it's so sad, the saddest it's ever been. Ghost of Tsushima. No, we're not playing that crap. It's a snooze fest. You roam around. I mean, it's a good looking game in terms of the art style, and it's a photogenic game, but it's a snooze fest. It's just like The Witcher. There's nothing to do in the world except eliminate enemies that move on the screen. Eliminate enemies that move on the screen. She don't love me. It's so sad. The saddest it's ever been. She don't love me, it's so sad, the saddest it's ever been. So the PS5 Pro slated to release later this year, and there could be some new Xbox hardware as well later this year, and then there are rumors that the Switch 2 is coming early next year. So it looks like we're entering another new generation shortly here. In the next year, as we head into 2025 for GTA 6 and all of the big releases in 2025. So another console refresh, at least for PlayStation. PlayStation 5 Pro slated to release later this year. And, well, it's kind of pointless, but I think it's basically to gear up for GTA 6. Yeah, I mean, it would make sense if GTA 6 is a good game, but quite frankly, we don't know if it is. We really don't know if it is. She don't love it, it's so sad. She don't love it, it's so sad. She don't love it, it's so sad. We're not playing Doom 3, no one's tuning in for that. We're not playing Doom 3, no one's tuning in for that. We're not playing Doom 3, no one is tuning in for that. We're not playing Doom 3, no one is tuning in for that. We're not playing Doom 3, no one is tuning in for that. I'm not playing these irrelevant games that 5 people care about because, well... She don't love it, so sad. She don't love it, so sad. I mean, it's just ridiculous. You want me to play these irrelevant games that no one cares about? Could never be me. I'm not going to do it. It's a waste of time. You guys are not listening. No, we're not playing these irrelevant games for 20 viewers. It's not happening. Will you play the Dying Light 2 Reloaded Edition on Thursday? Yeah, that's what we were talking about yesterday. We were going to play the Dying Light 2 Reloaded Edition on Thursday. But today is Tuesday, so, we have a few more days. And I don't think that's going to be all that big, but we'll see. She don't love it. So apparently you guys are woke. They're saying the mods are woke. How are the mods woke? Because they're interrupting a loser? Well, you can't do that in anyone else's chat. I already know. So why do you think you can do it over here? Like, the logic doesn't go through the brain, does it? Unbelievable. You think you get some sort of pass? Well, you come over here because you know you're going to get banned elsewhere as well, right? That's why you come over here. You could play Nightingale. That is the new hit for a week. Okay, well, I haven't heard anyone talking about it, so I'm not entirely sure. She don't love it, it's so sad. 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 Well, it might be time to wrap it up here. We've been live for 2 hours, folks. It might be time to wrap it up here. There's no mods, by the way, in the mobile chat that I can see, so that's where it could get nasty. Because I'm sure they're going to the mobile stream now, and they're going to splicing that chat up a little bit because they don't see any wrenches in the mobile chat. In the mobile stream. She don't love it, it's so sad. Oh, we got Reggie in the building. That's what we're talking about. We got Reggie in the building. Hey, Reggie, is your body ready? Is your body ready, Reggie? I mean, the Nintendo Wii was all about fun. We can plug that in and just have so much fun. Wii Sports, play Wii bowling and Wii baseball. And it's all about having fun, Back when gaming was fun, now it's a chore, it's a task, it's a job. It's basically a job. These publishers want you to play these games, and they're like, do busy work in these games and you're going to have so much fun. And it's like, no, this is the opposite of fun. We want a game where we can pick up and play and just enjoy it and not have to kind of overthink it. Complex doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be a great game. These games over complex, they're overly sophisticated, I tell you that. They're overly sophisticated. I mean, you can have a deep game, but if it isn't fun to pick up and play within the first 30 minutes, you're going to lose a lot of players, I'll tell you that. The PS5 Pro will be the place to play GTA 6. Well, absolutely. I mean, that's why Sony is getting ready. The place to play will be GTA. The place to play will be the PS5 Pro for GTA 6, absolutely. But that's only going to make sense if GTA 6 is worth getting. And, people are going to buy it regardless of quality, but you also have to ask yourself, well, is it really worth going out and buying another PlayStation 5 just for the same fucking thing? Because, I mean, how much better is it really going to be? Well, we don't know. Gaming died in 1992. It's over. Delusional. Yeah, you must be talking about yourself. I can put a keyword in too. Jeez, great adjective. Delusional. Who's delusional? Your mother? Yeah, she probably questions why she had you. Your dad didn't wear protection. So she don't love, and it's so sad. All right, well, I think we're going to wrap it up here. The wind is really cutting through here. The wind is really cutting through here, and there's not much else to say. The chat is totally dead yet again. I will unironically get a Series S for GTA 6. I'm not playing on useless PS5. Well, that's the cheapest way to enter. I mean, yeah. That's the cheapest way to enter. I mean, if you really have to play GTA 6 and you don't want to, that's a great option, actually. When you really think about it, it's like, well, there's probably some PC fanboys that are mad and upset, but can you really wait? Because we don't know when this is coming to PC. It could be a couple of years or, what have you. So, the Series X actually is a decent option. I mean, those go down to like $200 on Black Friday. So, I mean, that could be an entry point for, I mean, obviously it's going to not be the definitive version, way to play. But with that said, it's still a way to jump in and hold you off until the PC release for GTA 6. So, yeah, Series X could get a boost in sales, honestly. Now that I think, from certain PC nerds that might not be able to wait for the PC port. It's all about peace and love. Okay, we're not punching down. Okay, we're not punching down. Well, it is a good option because it isn't coming to PC, and not officially anyway, and so the Series X goes down to like $199, maybe even lower than that. I mean, a used Series S, let me see how much a used Series S is. It cannot be expensive at all. Let me see how much a used Series S, no one wants this. So it's got to be like $150. It's probably already like $150. Used Series S. How much is a used Series S? 200, 195, 179. Holy shit, they're cheap. And it's a good value if you just want to jump in. You don't want to have all of the bells and whistles. I mean, you don't have a disk drive, but that's okay because that's already a thing. Let's see what they actually sold for here. I'm looking at used Series S sold. Xbox Series S, $160. Holy shit. Yeah, well, that's a great way to jump into GTA 6 on a budget right there. I'm not even trolling. That's the best way to jump in if you really can't wait and you're a PC fanboy and you need to play GTA 6. That's probably the cheapest way to jump in, unless it's on the cloud or something. By then, it might be on the cloud, you know. She don't love, it's so sad. 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 She don't love. I already gifted 5 memberships, bud. I already gifted 5 memberships. I don't know what you're talking about. I already gifted 5 memberships. Maybe start tuning in. Well, we got 200 likes. Wow, I didn't think it'd get that high. We got 200 likes. That's what we're talking about. She don't love it. It's so sad. Saddest it's ever been. She don't love it. It's so sad. Saddest it's ever been. Yeah, well, PC fanboys, they're not going to be able to wait. I mean, if the game is really that damn good, I mean, they're going to have to go out and get some sort of console to play it, unless it's on the cloud or something, which by then it could be on the cloud. But and by then, the Series S will probably drop even cheaper than that. Because who really wants a Series S? I mean, who wants an Xbox in general? I mean, even PlayStation's struggling right now. Not as bad as Xbox, but... PS3 GTA 5 bundle is $500 on eBay. Yikes. Well, who the fuck wants that? That's a dead game. That's a dead console. Hey there, mister. How are you doing? Hey there, mister. How are you doing? PC gamers will buy a $30K PC to emulate PS5 GTA 6 at 5 free. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Unbelievable. Well, by then, the 50 series will be out, and hopefully that's an advancement.
It's over.
That's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about.
M0, M0, M0,
M0 coming through. Let's get the lasers out for you, bud.
It is true, the Series S is the size of a textbook and can go on sales for like $200.
Yeah.
That will be top bang for buck to play GTA 6, believe me.
Yeah. I mean, well, that's the only option I can see if you really want to jump in on a budget is Series S, and if you have to get a used one, I mean, you know, there's not much difference really because there's no disk drive, so there's less moving parts, and quite frankly, I think that is what some PC gamers will have to just work with until it comes and gets ported to the PC down the road. If the game is that good. That's if the game is that good. You know, that's if GTA 6 is that good. She don't love it. It's so sad. Saddest it's ever been. The Series S is the Series X baby. Yeah. Well, the Series S is underpowered, but does it really matter? I mean, I don't even... unless it's chugging in terms of frame rate, then it really doesn't matter all that much. Then it really doesn't matter. Okay, the desktop chat is dead. We're going to the mobile. Hi, mobile users. Hi, mobile users. Let's click the subscribe. Let's click the subscribe. Let's click the subscribe. Okay, we're going over to the mobile chat here because the desktop chat is totally dead. I can't even see the phone. Can't even see the phone. It's so... The screen went dim for some reason. Trying to save battery, I suppose. The mobile chat is dead. They're going over to the mobile chat now. The losers are going over to the mobile chat. I'm not reading the mobile chat if you're going over there, bud. Could never be me. We're going to have to wrap this up. The chat is totally dead on both ends. We're going to have to wrap this up here momentarily. The chat is dead on both ends. Very sad, but predictable. She don't love, and it's so sad. The saddest it's ever been. Alrighty, we're going to wrap this up. 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 We're going to say bye to mobile users. We're going to say bye to mobile vertical stream users, okay, viewers? So we're going to wrap the mobile stream up. 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 So bye, mobile viewers. We do appreciate you for tagging along, tuning in, and supporting the show. And be sure to click the subscribe button if you're on the mobile there. It should be pretty obvious. Big red button right at the top there. But for now, we're going to wrap it up here on the mobile. We do appreciate you guys for tuning in, tagging along, supporting the show. And we will resume the desktop stream for a few more minutes. And with that said, for mobile users, it's over. Okay, we've ended the broadcast on the mobile platform here. We've ended the broadcast on... Oh, yeah, terrible views on there. The algorithm really didn't hit that hard today. The chat rate was at 27. The chat rate was at 27. The chat rate right now is at 19. So not too much better, but still better. We only got 95 viewers, and so that's abysmal. Sometimes it works and it hits well, but it really just depends. We've wrapped the mobile. We've wrapped the mobile stream up. We've wrapped the mobile stream up. We've wrapped the mobile's dead, but at night it starts getting active. Last night we got record views on the mobile. We got like 7,000 views for a 1 hour and 30-minute stream. That's insane. Sheeto. No, the algorithm didn't leave. You left. That's why you're unhappy. You know, she left. She left. She don't love me, it's so sad. She don't love me, it's so sad. She don't love me, it's so sad. All right, we're going to be wrapping this one up here shortly. We're going to be wrapping this one up here shortly. We're going to be wrapping this one up here shortly. We're going to be wrapping this one up shortly. And we will be more than likely coming back for the walking stream on mobile. So if you're interested in that, fantastic. If not, well, I don't know what to tell you. But if the temperature drops, then we're going to have to layer up, because right now it's a little chilly out here. Once that sun goes down, it gets kind of chilly out here in a way that makes sense. She don't. She left because she actually loves and is pretending not to. Well, I don't know what that means. I can't help you. I'm not Dr. Phil, bud. Helldivers 2 is such trash, the servers are no good. Absolutely, and I just made a video showcasing what happens if you don't have PlayStation Plus. Now, obviously, it's a live service game, so you need PlayStation Plus. You know, it's not like I didn't know that, but you can't even jump into the damn spaceship. You can't even get into the title screen. You can't even launch the fucking game, really. So it's really ridiculous, but maybe that's how it is for a lot of other games that I just haven't noticed. I don't know. But regardless, you still need an internet connection. You don't. They really just should have made an offline mode, and it would have been maybe a little bit better. Because when I played it solo, I actually understood how to play the game a little bit better, because everyone's roaming around and shooting things that move on the screen. And it's like, well, when I play it solo and I have it on easy mode now, it's like, well, we can actually figure out what the fuck we're supposed to do at the very least. But it is a repetitive game. It is a repetitive game, so... let's go see if the dog piss is still there tonight. You would want to go see something like that, wouldn't you, bud? Well, we can go do that, and I'll tell you what, if the dog piss is still there, then you guys were quite frankly wrong. It's not dog piss, okay? Because clearly it would have dried up by now. So we'll go back to the spot tonight, and if the dog piss is still there, then you guys were wrong in the sense that it isn't dog piss, okay? I already told you it's not dog piss, but you guys didn't want to listen because it would have evaporated, okay? But if we go back there today... If we go back there today and the dog piss isn't there, then you guys were wrong. Okay? 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 Yeah, Reggie should return to Nintendo. A great presenter. He seemed like he knew what he was talking about, and in charge of Nintendo for many, many years. Reggie should return. Bowser's okay, but Reggie is Reggie is Reggie. Okay. Whew. Reggie's hot. You know. His body is ready. What does that even mean? Was that for the Wii Fit board or something? My body is ready. What the hell does that even mean? All right, folks, we're going to wrap it up. The chat is totally dead. We're going to wrap it up here. We've been live for 2 hours. That's plenty of time, and we will be back later. Okay, so be sure to join us for that. The PS5 Pro could be coming out later this year, and is it necessary? Probably not, but it's more than likely coming, so to get out before GTA 6 and to get ahead of that big release. So we'll see how the cookie crumbles, but for now, that is going to do it. We do appreciate you guys for tuning in, tagging along, supporting the show. And with that said, we will see you later. It's over!